I can't believe I'm actually saying this. It's finally over. 22 years, 7 Super Bowl rings, and the GOAT has officially retired. But first, thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's video. As someone who goes to the gym almost every day at this point, Factor makes my life super easy. There's no prep and no mess, and it's honestly super nice to not have to stress out about meal plan or prep. The meals come together in just minutes, so you don't have to worry about what you're gonna have for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Factor meals are prepared and ready to eat in under 2 minutes. Plus, it fits any diet. Factor offers keto, calorie smart, chef's choice, veggie, and vegan options that include things like seafood, meat, and plant-based meals. I have a lot of goals in the gym and in my regular life, and Factor helps me save so much time by not having to go grocery shopping. Plus, they have plenty of nutritious options for my current diet. Factor is now owned by HelloFresh, and with a wide array of meal plans to choose from, there's literally something for everyone. I personally love switching between the two, and now our viewers can enjoy both brands at a discount. So head to go.factor75.com/plans and use code JDPROD120 to get $120 off over your first 5 weeks of meals. Again, head to go.factor75.com/plans and use code JDPROD120 to get $120 off over your first 5 weeks of meals. Thank you again to Factor for sponsoring, and let's get back to the video. There was a time back in the late 1990s when it felt to be impossible that anyone would ever be able to pass Hall of Fame defensive end Charles Haley for Super Bowl rings. Haley won 5, playing with the incredible dynasties of the 49ers and Cowboys. Well, Brady beat that 3 years ago by winning his 6th and continuing to expand the gap after moving to Tampa Bay. One of the things that makes the Tom Brady story so great is that it's the type of story that every sports fan loves to see, an underdog story. Peyton Manning had one of the best careers we've ever seen, but he was supposed to be incredible. Brady wasn't. He was completely overlooked, like Rudy, the 1980 USA hockey team, Buster Douglas, and it wouldn't really be fair if I didn't mention them, the 2008 New York Giants. Tom Brady isn't just the GOAT, but he's one of the greatest underdog stories in the history of sports, and I feel like sometimes we forget that. Brady played college football at Michigan and sat on the bench for his first 2 years in Ann Arbor. Even as a senior, Brady was in a timeshare for the early stages of the season with Drew Henson. He finally got the job after a near comeback after being put into the game against Michigan State down 17. Brady went on to lead multiple fourth quarter comebacks following that game, including an iconic 31-27 comeback against Penn State, earning him the nickname the Comeback Kid. But Brady definitely wasn't a physical specimen in college, but what he was king of was the clutch. He scored a late game winning touchdown in the Wolverines' regular season finale against Ohio State, and the following week led an overtime win in the Orange Bowl over Alabama. Brady was good when it mattered most at Michigan, but never had wild numbers. He finished his collegiate career with 4,773 yards and 30 touchdowns to 17 interceptions. Nothing really special at all. Brady was about as unremarkable as they come heading into the 2000 NFL Draft. He definitely confirmed that belief at the Combine after putting up, well, not very good numbers. His 5.28 40-yard dash and great Combine Day photos are far from an example of his incredible career. At the draft, the Patriots used a compensatory selection, and with the 199th overall pick in the 6th round, Tom Brady's legacy in New England had officially begun. He and his family expected him to be a 2nd or 3rd round selection, and Brady even left his house in the 6th round because he was so embarrassed that his name hadn't been called yet. That was only more fuel to the Tom Brady fire. The best rookie Brady story to date is when he met Robert Kraft for the first time. Brady said hi to Kraft and was about to introduce himself before Kraft said,
"I know who you are. You're our 6th round draft choice."
Brady responded by looking Kraft into his eyes and telling him,
"That's right, and I'm the best decision this organization has ever made."
Turns out he was right about that. Brady was the backup to then starter Drew Bledsoe as a rookie, and the following year assumed the same role. That was until Bledsoe was injured in week 2 after taking a hit from Mo Lewis. The Patriots fell to 0-2 after the loss. The modern day media consensus about that whole event is that Brady came in and helped New England turn it around practically immediately, but that wasn't really the case. He didn't really play well at all in his first couple of games. But what makes the story of Tom Brady so great is his work ethic. Brady put in the work and all of a sudden started hitting his stride. The Patriots went on to win 11 of Brady's 14 starts and found themselves in the playoffs with a first-round bye. After a fourth-quarter comeback in his first playoff win and some help from the controversial Tuck rule, New England went on a run and found themselves in the Super Bowl. In a 17-point deadlock with 1:30 remaining versus the St. Louis Rams, Brady got the ball and led the Patriots down the field to set up a 48-yard Adam Vinatieri field goal to give the Patriots their first Super Bowl victory. As we all know, that was only the beginning for Brady and the Patriots. 2 years later, Brady captured his second Super Bowl that ended with another iconic fourth-quarter drive. Tied late against the Carolina Panthers, Brady led another drive down the field to set up a 41-yard field goal to win the game. Now, this is probably my earliest memory as a Patriots fan, and when the Super Bowl went on, I wasn't even 4 yet, so take in mind, I didn't know any of the players on the field, I didn't know really what was going on, but all I can remember from a young age like that was just being around my family and remembering the electricity in the room and how everyone was jumping up and down and being so excited for this Super Bowl win. And I feel like that's where my true fandom for the sport really came from. That was the moment I fell in love with the excitement of the sport, and I'll cherish that memory for the rest of my life. Still, the Patriots weren't done. The Patriots went on to notch their third Super Bowl championship in 4 years the next season after taking down the Philadelphia Eagles. I think one of the more underrated aspects of the Brady story is that he went a while without winning another Super Bowl ring. It seems like a lot of people have this idea that Brady just won rings throughout the entirety of his career, but that's just not true. After his third ring, it seemed like the Patriots were on a roll and nobody was going to be stopping them anytime soon. However, it was another 10 years before the Patriots won another Super Bowl. Brady is the greatest of all time, and honestly, I don't think there's really a debate at this point. But that doesn't mean he was immortal. Perhaps that was one of the greatest aspects of his story. He did have his struggles. He just had the will to overcome them. Over the 10-year span, Brady didn't win a Super Bowl, and a lot of that has to do with one family, the Mannings. In 2006, Peyton Manning and the Colts won the Super Bowl after taking down the Patriots on the way. The next season, the Patriots went to the Super Bowl before they fell to Eli Manning in their famous 18-0 season. 4 years after that, the Patriots lost to Eli in the Super Bowl again. Fuck you again, Eli. Then 2 years after that, the Broncos with Peyton Manning beat the Patriots on their way to a Super Bowl loss against the Seahawks. Brady definitely wasn't immortal, but as Peyton and Eli slowed down and dealt with injuries, Brady sped up. After a 10-year hiatus, the Patriots won the Super Bowl in the 2014 season in what was one of my most memorable moments as a Patriots fan. A Malcolm Butler interception to win the Super Bowl over the Seattle Seahawks. New England nearly made the Super Bowl the following season, but fell in the AFC Championship to Peyton in what was his final season, retiring as a Super Bowl champion. But the next season, Brady put together one of the most memorable moments of his career in 2016 after a 28-3 comeback in the Super Bowl against the Atlanta Falcons. So for this Super Bowl, I was actually at a friend's house for a Super Bowl party, and if you remember watching this game, the Patriots were getting mollywopped at the beginning of this game, and I was getting clowned on big time, and I was a little pissed. So I ended up going home and sitting down and watching the rest of the Super Bowl with my dad, and I can't even put into words what the feeling of watching that was. Watching the Patriots come back, it was one of the most thrilling and exhilarating moments as a sports fan I have ever witnessed, even to this day. And I'll be honest, later in my life, when I recall stories of Tom Brady, that's the one I'll most likely talk about the most. After falling to the Nick Foles-led Eagles in the Super Bowl in 2017, Brady returned and took down the Rams the following season, in what was honestly a pretty boring defensive battle. 6 rings in 20 years. But Brady wasn't done. Many thought he should retire at 43 years old, but he didn't. Instead, Brady hit the open market and decided to join Bruce Arians and sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like great players do, he attracted other great players to join Tampa Bay. Rob Gronkowski came out of retirement, Antonio Brown signed with Tampa Bay, and Leonard Fournette joined the party as well, all recruited to go to the Buccaneers by Brady. And all of them helped in the ensuing Super Bowl. As the New England Patriots struggled and missed the playoffs for the first time since 2008, Brady and the Buccaneers went 11-5 and made the playoffs as a wild card after narrowly missing out on winning the NFC South behind Drew Brees and the Saints. Brady went on an incredible Super Bowl run. After taking down Washington in the wild card, Brady had to go head-to-head with three of the best players in the game: Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes. As we know, he came out victorious en route to securing his record 7th Super Bowl, 2 more than any player in NFL history and more than any franchise in league history. Even then, he wasn't done. Tom Brady had 1 more year left in him and put up remarkable numbers for any quarterback, let alone a 44-year-old. Without a doubt, he wanted to pick up his 8th ring. But after the Buccaneers stormed back from being down 27-3 in the divisional round, Matthew Stafford hit Cooper Kupp for the dagger, and not just the game, but ultimately Brady's career. I can't wait to tell my kids that the guy that ended Tom Brady's career was Matthew Stafford. Regardless, the number of memories I have as a sports fan that include Tom Brady are countless. And I was lucky enough to not only get to watch him live, but watch him 3 different times. Jackson and I saw Brady beat up the Jets in New Jersey in 2017, beat the then Redskins in Maryland in 2018, and this past season saw him suit up for the Buccaneers in a loss to the Washington football team at FedEx Field. I was lucky enough to be born into a family full of Patriots fandom, and I truly am grateful for all the winning that I got to witness over the 20-something years. But let's be completely honest here, none of that would have been possible without Brady. He wasn't just the greatest quarterback of all time though, he was more than that for a lot of people, including me. Brady raised an entire generation of football fans that love and admire the sport today just because of the name Tom Brady. And those who love the game will thank him forever for that. His legacy and impact on the league will never be forgotten. And personally, I'm not sad that it's over. I'm just glad that I got to witness it.